Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today we're going to talk about employee responses. What we don't want to do is try and control how they respond or manipulate how they respond, but what we do want to do is anticipate and also to make sure we're not accidentally boxing them into a difficult situation in which they make a bad decision. Interested? Let's go. Today, we're talking about how employees react. What we're talking about is a situation in which something's happened, things aren't working, this is not a redundancy, this is disciplinary, this is misconduct, this is where something is happening on the other side of the employment equation that the employer, i.e. you, has a problem with. They're turning up late, they're not doing their job, they've spoken inappropriate to someone, they have misappropriated something. So all those things in which we say, hey, look, we have concerns that these things are happening over here. We need to talk to you about them. This is going to be a formal situation. There may be penalties. It may be warnings. It may be dismissal. This is the scenario we're walking into. What we're talking about now is how the employee reacts. The type of behavior that we tend to see. And I've got 3 models. The 3 models are kiss the ring, fight the fight, or split the difference. Let's quickly walk them through. So what is kiss the ring? That is where someone, figuratively speaking, turns up, apologizes, accepts responsibility, kisses the ring on the hand of the employer and says, I apologize. This is flight behavior. This is, I'm in trouble. Trouble's bad for me. What do I need to say? I apologize. I show contriteness. Whatever it is that I am in trouble for, I must have done something wrong. Therefore, I'll say sorry and apologize to everyone and put my cap in my hand and say, terribly sorry, never happen again. Can we move on? Strategy 2 is fight the fight. This is where someone basically comes in with active resistance. No, this isn't true. No, this didn't happen that way. Your interpretation is wrong. That's not how it is. That doesn't really matter. It's not as important as you say. Fight, fight, resist, resist. This is where the other one before was flight behavior. This is fight behavior. This is, I don't like what you're saying. I don't agree with where you're coming at. I don't find being in trouble pleasant, and it's got my back up. It's got my heckles up, and I'm fighting it. The third type of behavior is splitting the difference. Now, this is a complex one, so we're spending more time on this. Hopefully the other two are pretty self-explanatory. You've seen them, you know how people react in those situations. This third type of behavior, the split the difference strategy, is where someone says, look, I accept that there were some things I didn't do right. I accept that really I would have done things differently, but I had reasons. I had good reasons in my head at the time. This is why I did that. Now that you explain it to me, I understand, and I can see that my reasons weren't good enough. Please accept my position that I wasn't doing this for dumb reasons or stupidity or selfishness. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, or I thought it was reasonable. I now understand it's not. I accept, I apologize, I'd like to move on. That is the split the difference, where essentially you say, yeah, look, I did a wrong thing, I did a bad thing, but my headspace when I made that decision was like this. It wasn't a completely stupid, selfish, thoughtless, ignorant, intending hurt, but I do accept that I did that. I accept that there were unintended consequences to my actions. I accept them, and I will do better next time. You can trust and rely upon me to do things differently. Next time this happens, I'll be a bit smarter now that I understand better. So let's put ourselves in their position for a little bit. What is the best strategy? You're probably second guessing. My suggestion would be the third one, split the difference. It's the most logical, it's the most reasonable. It presents a defense whilst also not burning the bridge. But it's not always going to work, isn't it? Because not every strategy is going to be perfect in all circumstances. The best strategy will depend on what the circumstances are. You may have a difference of opinion, but to my mind, theft is an almost unforgivable sin. There is nothing that an employee can reasonably say that is an apology when it comes to theft, which essentially that the employer can accept if it is substantiated and move on from. So turning up and apologising and saying sorry and accepting fault isn't really going to help you out that much if what you've done is theft. If what you've done, you knew what you were doing and made a rational decision to take a risk to try and get away with it. There's not much that the employee can say that doesn't come across as anything more than, gosh, I'm really sorry that I was caught, because they knew what they were doing at the time. On the other hand, if you just lost your temper and you knew that you'd done something foolish, you know that you'd done something wrong, cap in hand is the smartest way to do it. Look, I'm mortified by my behaviour, I'm embarrassed by my behaviour. I can't believe I did that. What I'm continuously saying to people when dealing with all things disciplinary and performance, it's not justice. We are not meting out justice. This is not punitive. This is prospective. Even if we are talking misconduct for something that has happened in the past, we are not here to punish people. We are not judges seeking to punish people. We are re-evaluating the prospects for the future. We are only asking the question, can we keep working with this person? They have done a thing that has put our trust and confidence in them at risk. Can we continue to trust them in the future? And so hence, if you want to really boil down every disciplinary and penalty decision, it is, what confidence do we have that this behaviour that we have a problem with will occur again in the future? That is the heart of it. That is what you're trying to achieve. Are we going to see this again? Take swearing in the workplace. Some workplaces are fine with swearing. Some people just swear by habit. If they've moved into a workplace where they have sworn and we have a problem with it and we're saying, hey, we don't accept this angry behaviour in the workplace, and the person goes, yep, okay, I get that, I won't do it again. Can we have trust and confidence that they will do things differently? Yeah, reasonably so. And that at the end of the day is the core of the question. The employee strategy, they can play it well, they can play it badly, they can play it reasonably. What they do determines what we do. How they respond determines what trust and confidence we have with them in the future. I accept full responsibility. I hope that you can forgive me. I hope that we can continue to work together. That is probably the smartest strategy in the circumstances where the employee has just behaved poorly in the heat of the moment. The third strategy, splitting the difference, generally speaking, will make most sense in ambiguous situations. Now, I need to give you a takeaway. I need to give you a lesson. I would be remiss if I didn't give you something to do differently next time. And this one's really simple. People make these decisions. This is the variable outside of our control. Hopefully, if I've spelt this out correctly, there are good strategies and there are bad strategies. An employee who approaches the situation taking the wrong approach can really hamper what could have been something that was savable. An employee who adopts the wrong approach, the wrong strategy, can make the relationship untenable. I'm sure you've dealt with many circumstances where you could have kept working with that person. That person didn't need to go, but things spiraled outside of our control such that the relationship was not going to work. And part of the things that led to that spiral out of control is the decisions that they made. The employee who fights something that didn't need to be fought, something that if they could meet us halfway, we could keep working with them. We can't control decisions that they make, but on the other hand, we can accidentally prompt them or put them into a situation where they make bad decisions. So here's 2 things I want you to do differently. One of the temptations when it comes to conflict is getting it over and done with quickly. We don't like conflict. We don't want to be in conflict. So we try and get through it quickly. We get them in, we give them a bollocking, off we go. That's not giving people enough time to process. That's not giving them enough time to think. That is a circumstances in which suddenly they are in a fight or flight scenario which leads to bad decisions. You need to give people enough time to process what your concerns are such that they can make a rational decision, not an instinctive decision. And we're going to talk about type 1 and type 2 another day. The second point, you tell people what you are thinking clearly and rationally, the more they can respond, they can line up with your thinking. I know the temptation is to hold cards just in case. Play all your cards, put them on the table, let them see, and let them react rationally based on seeing all the information in front of them. So, to paraphrase, next time you're dealing with conflict, give people enough space and enough information to make the smarter, rational decision, the one that is likely to keep the relationship working if that's what you want. Give people enough time to pick a reasonable strategy rather than not enough time and not enough information that they pick the wrong strategy. Bad decisions tend to end up in lose-lose situations. Sometimes HR is game theory in action. It's like playing chess. You make a move, they make a move, you respond to their move. I can't really teach you how to play 2 steps ahead via a podcast. Unfortunately, this is a one-way medium. I can only talk to you about 1 step ahead. This is why a lot of the stuff we tend to focus in on our training courses. This is where a lot of our ER and HR training courses are really helpful, in which we can talk about, okay, you're in this situation, these are your options, and you can talk to me or talk to my colleagues about, right, what do I do in these scenarios? Because there's so many different scenarios, so many different situations. The most I can help you with is not about what to do, but about how to have good judgment about some of the bigger issues that you tend to see. So, to put the plug at the end, have a look at Pragmatic HRM for all of our courses and all of our articles that could help you out with this. If not a problem. Please repost us or share us whenever you can. This is a free service. This is free thinking for you. We have no problem at all if you share us around and get other people to learn from us for free. Thanks.